Hey guys, Kendra here, and I'm so excited to shoot and release this video because with every podcast interview that I do, every person that I meet on the street, every prospective client that I talk to, they always have a question on this topic. Finance and accounting, what's the difference? CPA, CFO, bookkeeper, accountant, what is the difference and what do I need? And I get it, if you don't live and breathe this world, it can get to be a little confusing, but no worries because after this video, you'll know the differences and exactly which one you need. For each type of service provider, I'm going to explain what they do, how they're different, what you should expect of them if they're working with you currently in your business, and if not, what questions you should ask if you're ready to hire. So let's get into it. A bookkeeper is typically someone that helps with the data entry or transactional side of your business. Their sole purpose is to make sure they record every transaction that's made within your business. So whether that's you purchasing like a laptop for your business or whether that's you selling a product that you've made for your business, their job is to record everything accurately. They're different from other service providers in that they don't provide advisory level service. Their sole purpose is to make sure everything is recorded accurately, but not to necessarily give advice on budgeting or forecasting or projecting. It's a necessary function of accounting though. It's the very first step. It's recording every transaction that your business does. Now here's what you should expect from your bookkeeper. Monthly financial reports. At the very minimum, you should get your balance sheet and your profit and loss statement at the end of every single month. Now let's get into what questions to ask if you're looking for a bookkeeper. So here are a couple. So number one, do you have experience working in my particular industry? So for example, if you're in retail, you want a bookkeeper who's familiar with working with retailers because if they don't understand how to properly record inventory, that's going to be a problem since inventory is the heart of your business. If you're a coach and you offer programs with payment plans, make sure they're familiar with that process. They might not know how to properly record payment plans. So you want to make sure you ask if they have experience in your industry. 2, ask them how quickly you can expect to get your monthly financial statements every single month. So remember, it's not a question of if you get your financial statements, that's a given. They absolutely should give you that every month. It's a question of how quickly can you get it. So once the month is over, what date should you expect to get your financial reports? And here's a quick note, it should not be any later than the 15th of the next month. And the 15th is really pushing it. Next up, accountant. Now, some people use the word bookkeeper and accountant interchangeably, and while there are some similarities, there really is a difference. So an accountant can do the work of a bookkeeper, but an accountant can also build on the work of a bookkeeper. So while a bookkeeper may enter the data, an accountant can summarize it and analyze it and maybe make some month-end adjustments and changes. They typically have a deeper understanding of the full accounting process. From an accountant, you should expect some level of advisory service. So they should be able to look at your transactions and your financial statements and provide you some advice on how you can get or stay compliant. They're there to make sure that there are proper policies in place. You should definitely have an open communication with your accountant. They're not just there to enter the data and push you reports each month. They are there to advise you on what the numbers of your business are really trying to tell you. As a side note, this is why you can't do your own accounting. You might be able to attempt to do your own bookkeeping, but accounting is a profession. You can't just do your own accounting and give yourself advice on compliance and the IRS issues and tax codes and things like that. That is the work of an accountant, someone who goes to school to be an accountant. So as a side note, you can't do your own accounting. You might be able to do your own bookkeeping, but you can't do your own accounting. So let's say you're ready to bring on an accountant in your business. So what are some questions to ask? Well, here's one. Do you do bookkeeping as well, or do I need my own bookkeeper? Some accountants come in after your bookkeeper has done the work, and some accountants can do the bookkeeping themselves as well. Number 2, what type of accounting advice can I expect from you? Some accountants go more in the lane of tax and they give tax advice. Some accountants go more in the lane of process and compliance, so they give process and compliance advice. So ask, see what they usually give, and make sure that it's in line with what you need. Next up, CPAs. So CPA stands for Certified Public Accountant. And while all accountants are not CPAs, all CPAs are accountants. The CPA is a license to provide accounting services to the public. So what does that mean? They have to pass a series of exams, a certain level of education and experience. So it means that they may have more relevant experience to your business than an accountant that does not have a CPA license. But that's not always the case. The main takeaway is that a CPA is not a position, it's a license. So a CPA is not a bookkeeper or an accountant or a CFO. A CPA is a license. So similar to when you go and get additional education to get your MBA. So just like an MBA doesn't serve all businesses in the same capacity, a CPA doesn't serve all businesses in the same capacity either. All CPAs don't do the same thing, all MBAs don't do the same thing. So if you're looking to hire a CPA, here are some questions to ask. So 1, ask them in what way do they typically serve their clients? Is it bookkeeping? Is it accounting? Is it taxes? Because again, they don't all do the same thing. So ask. 2, explain the type of situation that you have. So you can say, here's the type of business that I have. Can you help me in this type of situation? So for example, I have a multi-member LLC with 3 partners and I'm married and one is single but does real estate investment deals and one has royalties. Are you familiar with all of those different things? Can you help a situation like this? We want one person to handle all of our taxes. Could you do that? So break down your situation and ask them if they can handle and if they are familiar with all of those different things. And if you don't know the details, the LLCs and royalties and all of that, just give them the information that you do know and let them tell you whether or not they are familiar and if they can truly help you. And now CFO. So CFO stands for Chief Financial Officer. And while all of the other service providers that we talked about are accounting based, a CFO is finance based. So what's the difference? Accounting in every profession that we've talked about in the past, it's more about the transactions that have already occurred. So making sure they're recorded properly, reviewing them, analyzing them, but it's more about the historical transactions that have already occurred. Where finance professionals focus more on the future. So we're more future focused, thinking about how do we get a business from where it currently stands to where we want it to go. So if we're wanting to go from A to B, B is the goal that is typically set by the business owner, and A is where we currently are now. So A comes from the accounting department, right? Because all of the historical transactions tell us where the business is currently. So the finance department typically relies heavily on the accounting department to provide the current situation of the business, the current state, and then the finance department will take over and decide how do we get from the current state to where we want to go. But please remember, every business does not need a CFO. A CFO is really needed for a business that has a team or a certain level of complexity within their organization. For one, ask what level of service can you expect from them? So some CFOs provide one report or one reporting package that they send to you every month, and that's the extent of their service. Some go all the way to providing unlimited access and unlimited advisory services on things like purchasing decisions, investor relations, hires and fires. So you want to understand what level of support you can expect from them. 2, what type of team do they have? So see if they have a CPA on their team, an accountant on their team, or if they're just a sole CFO. One way isn't better than the other. It really just depends on what you need in your organization. Because again, if you already have a bookkeeper, your accounting's already up to date, then maybe you can have a CFO that is just a sole CFO. It really depends on what you need in your organization, but you want to know ahead of time what type of team they have. Okay, so before this video gets incredibly long, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to wrap it up saying this. Accounting and finance can feel super overwhelming to a lot of business owners. And a lot of times it really gets put off until it can't get put off any further. Whether that's because tax season is coming up or because you're just frustrated with not understanding where all of your money is going. So here's the thing, get help, and get help now. Don't try to clean up your mess before bringing it to a professional. Don't think that your mess is the messiest that we've seen, because it's likely not. And even if it is, it's our job and it's usually our pleasure to actually fix all of those things for you. That's exactly why we got into this line of business. So if you are feeling overwhelmed by your accounting, bookkeeping, taxes, finances, whatever it is, bring it to a professional. Ask these questions, interview them, see which one you want to go go with? Who do you feel more comfortable with? It is an intimate part of your business. It's your money, it's your finances and accounting. We understand that. So ask us questions, interview us, see who you feel comfortable with. But at the end of the day, promise me that you will get it started. You will start to work on your accounting and your finances in your business. So I hope this helps. Please drop a comment, share this video with all of your entrepreneur and small business owner friends, and feel free to shoot us an email at info@thefinancefem.com or hop on over to our website if you would like more information on our CFO service. I also have a wide network of accounting and tax professionals, so really any service provider that you need, we can help you. Just let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing you in that next video.